Disclaimer. This video contains intense and frightening content meant for entertainment purposes. It may include scenes that some viewers may find disturbing or unsettling. We recommend viewer discretion, especially for those sensitive to horror themes or with underlying medical conditions that could be affected by intense content. The events portrayed in this video are entirely fictional, and any resemblance to real-life situations or individuals is coincidental. We do not endorse harmful or illegal activities. By continuing to watch, you acknowledge the content warning and proceed at your own discretion.
Story 1. The Haunting of Hollowgate Penitentiary. On a chilly autumn evening, my insatiable curiosity led me to the foreboding Hollowgate Penitentiary, an abandoned prison deep within the woods. The rusted iron gates, overgrown with vines, welcomed me into an atmosphere heavy with dread. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows as I ventured deeper into the decaying prison. The dimly lit corridors whispered tales of despair and suffering, and my flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on moss-covered walls. A profound sense of history weighed on me as I explored further. Each cell told a story of isolation and misery, echoing with the memories of those who had been confined within. The oppressive ambiance seemed almost tangible, a testament to the prison's grim past. As I walked past row after row of rusted bars, I couldn't help but wonder about the lives of those who had called this place home. What had driven them to commit the crimes that landed them here? What horrors had they endured during their incarceration? My heart raced when I reached a section said to be haunted by the spirits of former inmates. It was here that the atmosphere grew even more oppressive, as if the very air was heavy with sorrow. I saw them, shadowy figures, indistinct and elusive, moving in the dim light. One figure, more defined than the rest, reached out. A cold breeze passed through me as its spectral hand passed through mine. Fear surged through me, and I stumbled backward, my flashlight falling to the ground. The ghostly figure's eyes bore into mine, filled with an anguish that transcended the grave. It opened its mouth, but no words emerged. Only a chilling, mournful wail that echoed through the cell block. I fled, my heart pounding, leaving my fallen flashlight behind. Laughter echoed behind me, the tormented spirits pursuing me through the maze of corridors. Whispers filled the air, their words unintelligible, but filled with a malevolent intent that sent shivers down my spine. Finally, I burst through the prison gates, gasping for breath in the cool night air. My pulse raced, and my mind struggled to process the surreal encounter I had just experienced. The memory of those haunted souls would forever haunt my dreams. Hollowgate Penitentiary had lived up to its sinister reputation, a place where the past refused to rest. Its history of violence, despair, and death had left an indelible mark on the decaying walls, a mark that no amount of time could erase. As I drove away, my heart still racing, I knew that the chilling tales of Hollowgate Penitentiary were not mere stories. They were a horrifying reality, a reminder that some places should remain abandoned, for the past should never be disturbed. In the end, my insatiable curiosity had led me to a brush with the supernatural, and I had emerged from Hollowgate Penitentiary forever changed, with a deep-seated respect for the mysteries of the past and the restless spirits that dwell within its darkest corners. Story 2. The Enigma of Solitude Penitentiary. It was a tale that had haunted my dreams since I first heard it. The legend of Solitude Penitentiary, an abandoned jail nestled in an unreachable place, far removed from civilization. Whispers of its grim history and the chilling rumors that prisoners had been brutally murdered during its operation had captured my imagination. I was compelled to seek out the truth, to confront the enigma that was Solitude Penitentiary. My journey began on a brisk autumn morning when I set out for the remote wilderness that concealed the penitentiary. The path leading to it was barely recognizable, obscured by thick overgrowth and treacherous terrain. I had heard stories of lost adventurers who had tried to reach the place but never returned. Nevertheless, my curiosity pushed me onward. As I ventured deeper into the unforgiving wilderness, the forest seemed to close in around me, a living, breathing entity. The air grew colder, and an eerie silence descended, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves or distant bird call. It was as if nature itself warned me to turn back. Hours turned into a day, and just as I began to doubt the tales of solitude's existence, I stumbled upon an overgrown path, vines and thorns clayward at my clothes. As I followed it deeper into the heart of the wilderness, the path twisted and turned, ascending a rocky hill before revealing itself. Solitude Penitentiary stood before me, a grim fortress of stone and iron, perched atop a desolate plateau. Its towering walls loomed grey and foreboding against the overcast sky. The silence that hung in the air was thick with a sense of dread, as if the very ground beneath me had absorbed the suffering of the past. With trepidation, I approached the prison's imposing gates. The iron bars were rusty, and vines had wound their way through the cracks. A heavy chain and padlock, long since abandoned, hung uselessly. It was as if the prison itself had given up on keeping its secrets. As I stepped through the gaping entrance, a shiver ran down my spine. I was now within the very walls that had confined the most hardened criminals of their time. The cell blocks stretched out before me like a maze, each cell a tiny chamber of despair. Faded graffiti and remnants of belongings from long-departed inmates hinted at the lives that had been lived and lost within these walls. But it wasn't just the history that chilled me to the bone. It was the unsettling aura that clung to the place. It was as if the very stones whispered tales of suffering and despair, and the shadows moved of their own accord, as if the spirits of the past still roamed the halls. My exploration led me deeper into the labyrinthine corridors, where the prison's darker secrets were said to be hidden. The air grew colder, and I could hear faint whispers echoing off the damp, mold-covered walls. It was then that I stumbled upon a hidden passage concealed beneath a loose stone in the floor. Cautiously, I descended into the depths below, my flashlight revealing a forgotten catacomb of tunnels and chambers. It was here that the truth of Solitude Penitentiary began to unravel before me. In a hidden chamber, I found journals and diaries left behind by former prison staff. The entries revealed a horrifying truth, that prisoners had indeed been subjected to unspeakable cruelty and violence during the penitentiary's operation. Tales of abuse, torture, and murder filled the pages, confirming the rumors that had haunted my imagination. As I delved deeper into the underground labyrinth, I came across a chamber unlike any other. The walls were adorned with crude drawings, each depicting the faces of prisoners who had met gruesome fates. It was a chilling memorial to those who had suffered within these walls, a silent testament to the darkness that had consumed the souls of both inmates and guards. I could feel the presence of the past closing in around me, as if the spirits of the prisoners and the malevolent guards were watching, their anger and anguish still alive in this forsaken place. It was then that I knew I had to leave, to escape the suffocating grip of Solitude Penitentiary before it consumed me as well. As I emerged from the underground labyrinth and into the fading daylight, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had unearthed a truth that was never meant to be known. Solitude Penitentiary had lived up to its haunting legend, a place where the echoes of suffering and brutality would forever linger. I made my way back through the wilderness, haunted by the revelations I had uncovered. Solitude Penitentiary, with its dark history and unreachable location, had revealed its darkest secrets to me. And as I left that desolate plateau behind, I knew that the enigma of solitude would continue to haunt my dreams, a chilling reminder of the horrors that had transpired within its walls. The legend of Solitude Penitentiary was no longer just a tale whispered in the night. It was a harrowing reality, a testament to the capacity for cruelty and darkness that exists within the human soul.
Story 3, Whispers in the Dark. The crimson sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forsaken landscape. Before me stood a nightmarish relic, a jail isolated from the world, cloaked in darkness and rumors. They said that the prisoners here were not just incarcerated, but were victims of a serial killer who stalked these eerie halls. My name is Emily, and my fascination with the macabre had led me here. Legends spoke of an unreachable jail, concealed within a labyrinthine forest. It was said that the prisoners had met gruesome ends at the hands of a sadistic murderer. Tonight, I would unveil the truth. Navigating through the dense forest had been a harrowing ordeal. Thorny brambles clawed at my clothes, and the eerie silence weighed heavily on my senses. The deeper I ventured, the more I felt like an intruder in a realm untouched by time. As the moon ascended into the inky sky, I finally reached the forest's edge, and the jail materialized before me. A grim monolith of despair. Its stone walls, marred by years of neglect, loomed like a sinister specter. The iron gates, encrusted with rust, seemed to be an invitation into the abyss. Summoning my courage, I pushed open the heavy door, which groaned in protest, and entered the oppressive darkness within. My flashlight pierced the gloom, revealing a labyrinth of narrow, winding corridors that seemed to twist and turn endlessly. The whispers began, soft, eerie voices that danced in the frigid air. The walls bore witness to the prisoners' agony, etchings and graffiti chronicling their torment. Each step I took felt like a journey deeper into the heart of darkness. The cells held their own gruesome tales. Some still contained the remains of their former occupants, skeletons bound by rusted chains, forever imprisoned in their anguish. Others were empty, yet the malevolence of the past clung to them, an oppressive force that refused to dissipate. In one cell, I stumbled upon a diary, its pages yellowed with age. It belonged to a deranged prison guard who had documented the horrors he had witnessed. He spoke of a fellow guard who moonlighted as a serial killer, preying on the inmates for perverse pleasure. As I read on, the whispers grew more insistent, as if the spirits were guiding me. The diary led me to a hidden underground passage, a place of darkness and dread. It was here that the serial killer had committed his vile acts, luring the prisoners to their gruesome fates. The passage was a chilling sight, adorned with sinister symbols and signs of unspeakable violence. The air was heavy with the palpable terror of the victims who had met their end here. I could almost sense their presence, their silent screams echoing in the stillness. Suddenly, I felt a presence behind me, a ghostly apparition, the malevolent spirit of the serial killer still thirsting for blood. He reached out, his icy fingers grazing my skin, and I could hear his sinister laughter, a haunting echo of his sadistic past. Tears welled in my eyes as I realized the horror that had unfolded within these walls. I had to bring this twisted tale to light, to expose the atrocities that had occurred here, and ensure that the world would remember the prisoners who had suffered at the hands of a merciless killer. Leaving the jail behind, I returned to civilization, determined to share the diary and my harrowing experience. The jail was no longer a forgotten relic. It became a symbol of unspeakable darkness and the resilience of the human spirit. But the whispers of the past would forever haunt my dreams, a chilling reminder that some secrets are better left buried in the depths of darkness.